Hello everyone. Back again with film recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the horror thriller films from 1983, titled Curtains. Before we get to the storyline, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and great day. Without further ado, let's get straight to the storyline. In the opening scene, a famous actress named Samantha is rehearsing lines for a movie she is starring in. Her director, Stryker, is watching her from a distance. They are preparing for his upcoming movie, where the main character, Audra, is mentally unstable. However, Stryker is unhappy with Samantha's performance, and he claims Samantha does not fully understand how a demented woman like Audra would feel. Samantha seems to not accept this comment. Therefore, Stryker brings Samantha to a mental asylum the next day. We learn that Samantha is being admitted to the asylum because of her mental instability. Here, they meet the chief doctor, and the doctor tells her that he is a big fan of her. He's excited to watch her as Audra, but Stryker comments that the film has been put on hold for the time being. The doctor remarks that Samantha doesn't appear to be ill, and he expected somewhat more severe behavior from her. But then all of a sudden, Samantha starts attacking Stryker with a letter opener, and behaves erratically, so the nurses have to show up and restrain her. Seeing this, the doctor claims he has finally understood her situation, and Stryker asks to speak to Samantha privately. But then, once they are alone, Samantha and Stryker begin to laugh, and it turns out that she was just pretending to be crazy. It is revealed that she is a method actress, who will stop at nothing to fulfill her role as Audra. Stryker advised her that the only way to play the insane character was to spend time in an insane asylum with demented women. He then leaves Samantha with the doctor and departs. Afterward, Samantha goes to her room, which she shares with a bunch of mentally ill women. She starts paying close attention to her new surroundings, aiming to better grasp the experiences of these women. Days later, Stryker visits Samantha and inquires about her progress. She admits to having difficulty fitting in with the mentally ill people around her. Samantha claims that they scream and cry so loudly at night that she is unable to sleep. Sometimes, the group sits down to watch movies, and most of the actresses in these movies are herself. The patients quickly recognize her and begin to make fun of her current state. On Stryker's next visit, he claims that he likes Samantha's new look, comments that it's a good thing, and asks her to save these experiences for the film. Samantha continues to reside in the institution, and being around a bunch of mentally ill people takes a toll on her, and she begins to feel depressed. Weeks go by, Stryker realizes that she has changed a lot, and seems to have turned into an actual crazy person now, so he decides to leave her as he thinks she has ruined his plan. One morning, Samantha reads in a magazine that Stryker has announced the resumption of the movie and is looking for a lead actress. After everything she has sacrificed for this role, she did not expect him to betray her. In the next scene, we see a stand-up comedian named Patty performing on stage. She explains how she has always wanted to be an actress, admitting she'd do anything to make it come true. Patty excitedly mentions that she, along with 6 other girls, has been selected to audition for a lead role in an upcoming film. On the other hand, we see a veteran actress named Brooke, whose manager tells her about Stryker's upcoming movie, and asks her to audition. Brooke is shocked because she thought Samantha was going to play the role, but her manager states that she is facing health issues. Hearing this, Brooke is excited and agrees to audition for the role. In the meantime, Samantha has managed to escape from the asylum, and is now living with a friend. It turns out she had broken into Stryker's office, and found pictures of potential candidates. While she is burning these pictures in a fireplace, her friend advises her to move on, and offers to help her get better roles. But Samantha refuses, and claims that she wants to take revenge on Stryker. Elsewhere, a woman named Amanda is doing her makeup at home. Outside her house, a masked man is seen preparing to break in. Amanda goes to her bed and reads a book, when the masked man appears and restrains her. Despite her efforts to break free, the man overpowers her and forces himself onto her, and Amanda eventually stops resisting. After they're done, both begin to laugh, and it turns out that this man is her boyfriend, and they are just engaging in role play. Amanda then reveals that she is going to attend Stryker's casting session this weekend. It's a very important opportunity and she doesn't want to miss it. Later that night, she wakes up from her sleep. She looks around for her boyfriend, but he is nowhere to be found. And then all of a sudden, a person wearing an ugly hag mask appears and stabs her multiple times. After she is dead, the killer takes her creepy doll sitting by the bed and leaves. Since Amanda is now dead, the remaining 5 actresses show up at Stryker's mansion the next day. Aside from Patty and Brooke, we see Tara, a tall and attractive woman who works as a minor actress. Then there's a ballet dancer named Lorraine, and the youngest is Christy, who is an ice skater. The girls discuss what they could possibly have in common and why they were invited there. Just then, Stryker walks in, and notices that one of them is missing. He then introduces them to the odd caretaker, Matthew. Stryker tells them that one of them will play Audra, but he doesn't know which one yet. Moments later, Samantha arrives uninvited, and sits at the table with the other actresses. Stryker is clearly annoyed by her presence, but he pretends to welcome her. In the evening, Samantha looks out her window, and sees Tara making out with Matthew in a jacuzzi. She is then startled by Stryker, who asks what she is doing there. Samantha begins to accuse him of abandoning her in the asylum, and deciding to cast someone else as Audra. She also states that she bought the rights to the movie and without her, this project wouldn't have been possible. However, Stryker responds that she isn't suitable to play Audra anymore. As they argue about Samantha's mental state after her time in the asylum, Christy walks by the door and overhears everything. Stryker soon finds out that she's been listening to them, so he tells her that he and Samantha were rehearsing a play that he wrote. Stryker then escorts Christy to her room, and accompanies her inside. Elsewhere, we see that the murderer is also present, and is preparing the weapon. After a while, Stryker leaves Christy in her bed. It's revealed that he forced himself upon her, and Christy begins to cry alone in her bed. The next morning, an upset Christy goes outside to clear her mind. She then begins playing loud music while ice skating, and starts to feel a bit better. But then, a while later, the music from her boombox suddenly stops, so she skates over to see what's wrong. Here she notices a hand buried in the snow, and is horrified. Christy begins to dig, and eventually finds a doll. This is the same doll the killer took after murdering Amanda. As Christy inspects the doll, we notice the masked killer approaching her while skating. Horrified, Christy flees from there, while the killer chases her with a sickle. After an intense struggle, Christy manages to kick her assailant away, but not before being injured on the shoulder. She flees into the forest, bleeding profusely. After walking for a while, she believes she is safe, and rests against a tree. Unfortunately, the killer reappears from behind and brutally decapitates her. In the evening, the girls become worried as Christy is nowhere to be seen. Stryker informs them that she left a note on his door, telling him that she would leave. The girls are surprised because she was perfectly fine and cheerful last night. Stryker then requests them to drop this topic, and asks them to audition one by one. Just then, Samantha shows up and claims she wants to join them. Stryker becomes annoyed, but Samantha insists that she wants to audition with the other girls. An enraged Stryker then gives her an audition. He hands her the same killer's mask, and asks her to seduce him without showing her pretty face. Samantha reluctantly puts on the mask, and he asks her to seduce him without physical contact or words. The woman is left speechless and unsure of what to do. Eventually, he removes her mask, and claims that her face is a mask too. Later on, Stryker goes to meet Patty, and asks her to audition for the role. But out of nervousness, she begins to tell him a couple of jokes. Stryker is clearly not impressed, and says that a casting session is necessary for her. He then mentions that she isn't fit for the role, and proceeds to leave. However, Patty yells that she's just as capable as the other actresses. She argues that being a comedian doesn't mean she can't play serious roles. While she is screaming, Stryker almost smiles, and says that he can see a bit of Audra in her. In the next scene, Stryker angrily asks Samantha where the hag mask is, but she insists she doesn't know, so he accuses her of plotting something. Samantha becomes furious, pointing out that he brought 5 girls there for the role she was supposed to play, and now he's questioning her motives. In another scene, Brooke is reading the script in her room when she hears a noise from her bathroom. She proceeds to check but doesn't find anything. Elsewhere, Stryker is working with Tara and Lorraine, making them do a seductive scene with each other. They do not impress him, so he starts yelling at them. Meanwhile, Brooke is painting her nails in the bathroom, unaware of a figure lurking behind her shower curtain. She then closes the window when she hears a noise, and then suddenly, she discovers Christie's severed head in the toilet, and rushes into the room where Stryker is working with the girls. She tells him about the gruesome discovery, but he doesn't believe her. Stryker then goes to her bathroom, where he finds nothing. He dismisses it as a misunderstanding and tries to calm her down. He then suggests she rest for a while. Brooke is terrified and still shaken, so he takes advantage of her vulnerability and proceeds to be intimate with her. Later, Samantha enters Brooke's room and sees Stryker in bed with her. She becomes upset, but quietly exits the room without causing any drama. She then recalls all of the promises Stryker had made to her, and ends up smashing a mirror in frustration. Meanwhile, Lorraine is practicing her ballet dancing in a studio room, when the killer walks in, and suffocates her. On the other hand, as Stryker and Brooke are discussing the role of Audra, someone wearing a robe approaches the room. Suddenly, this person fires a gun, causing both of them to fly out the window. Hearing the gunshots, Tara rushes downstairs, where she discovers the lifeless bodies of Stryker and Brooke, and screams in horror. She frantically searches the house for the others, but no one is to be seen. Tara attempts to leave, but discovers that the cars are inoperable, and she also notices the dead body of Matthew in the jacuzzi. Terrified, she seeks refuge in Stryker's prop warehouse, which is near the mansion. Tara tries to find an operating vehicle, but we see that the killer is also present and observing her. And then, moments later, luckily, she manages to dodge the killer and flee. Tara then desperately tries to unlock the front door and screams for help, but to no avail. She searches for a hiding spot around the warehouse, while the masked killer begins to look for her. Not long after, Tara gets out of hiding and tosses the killer away, and the person appears to be unconscious for a while. Tara attempts to remove the mask, but the killer suddenly wakes up and begins to choke her. She then strikes the killer with a piece of wood repeatedly before running away. After that, she wanders around the place, and comes across a room filled with mannequins. She tries to hide there, but moments later, she notices blood on her hands. When she looks up, she is horrified to see Lorraine's dead body hanging. Realizing there's nowhere else to go, Tara finds an air vent, and decides to hide inside it. As she waits, the killer shows up and searches the area. Tara stays quiet, hoping to remain undetected. When the coast is clear, she cautiously crawls out of the vent. But then, she is pulled back into the vent, and killed. In the next scene, Patty is in the kitchen when she's startled by Samantha's arrival. Samantha suddenly tells Patty to forget about the role and go back to her normal life, because there will be no movie. Samantha then opens up about her past experiences in the asylum, and reveals that she murdered Stryker and Brooke tonight as her revenge. Hearing this, Patty is shocked to the core. Samantha asks her to go ahead and call the police, claiming she's not going anywhere. Samantha promises that she won't hurt her or the other girls, but then, Patty points out that there's no one else left except for them. Eventually, she confesses that she murdered all the other girls to eliminate her competition. This shocks Samantha, but before she can even react, Patty fatally stabs her to death. In the final scene, we see that Patty has been arrested for her crimes, and placed in the same asylum where Samantha was admitted. She performs a stand-up comedy in front of a group of mentally ill people, explaining how she has wanted to be an actress so badly, that she'd do anything to make it come true. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you again in the next video.